everybody. It's Olivia Scott with Freedom at the Mat. I hope you're all doing wonderfully well today. I had a really powerful and blessed experience this past Sunday. Shonda Domingo Brown, who is the founder and CEO of Domingo Training in New Orleans, she invited me out for a morning meditation practice that was entitled Ancestral Healing. And I showed up. I showed up with no expectation, just kind of showed up a little bit skeptical. I've heard about ancestral healing. I know that there are a lot of people talking about intergenerational trauma, but I didn't know what I was in about it. And it's something that I wanted the Freedom at the Mat community to learn about as well. So with no further ado, I am going to invite Shonda Domingo Brown into the house. Shonda, how are you?
I am great, Olivia. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're
I'm
welcome.
excited to be here.
Wonderful. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you agreed to be here. So, as I mentioned, you sent me a text a couple days ago before the Sunday and said, "Hey, come by." And I'm like, "Okay." Right?
Yeah.
I had no real idea of what I was in for. So, before we go into exactly what ancestral healing is, can you just tell our community more about you and your background? I know you to be a woman who has worked for many, many years in fitness and wellness. Can you tell us a little bit more about you and what you've done in the wellness and fitness space?
Yeah, sure. So, coming off of actually a 20-year life as a dancer and choreographer, touring, doing music videos. While I was in that world, I got really into fitness. I'm New Orleans homegrown, so I was red beans and rice and jambalaya in it, and realized that I just wasn't taking care of myself, especially on tour and prepping for different gigs. And so I just started working out and looking at my health in a totally different way. And the artist that I was working with was like, "Hey, can you train me? Because I just saw your transformation." And I was like, "I got you." But I wanted to do it right? So I got certified. I did my studying, and then fitness just became my life. I went to support a friend to take a class, and he didn't show, and I wound up jumping in front of the class and teaching it. And that's kind of how I got thrown into teaching dance cardio. I just took what I knew, right? And I knew fundamentals of fitness. And it turned into this hip hop cardio phenom in LA while I was out there. And then moved back home to New Orleans because my mom was sick and I'm an only child. And my family goes, "Well, you're home now, so we can be healthy." And I was like, but I wanted the challenge, right? And so I came home, I started teaching hip hop cardio all around the city, and it took a life of its own and really built a community. And while that was doing that, personally, I had lost my mother in the process, and I just wanted something deeper. Something else was pulling at me. Fitness was great and I loved the community, but something felt like it was missing as a part of the equation. And I started realizing I was training clients full time. I had launched my company at this point and everything was flowing. And I realized, wow, we're doing this great work physically, but there's the other component. There's an emotional and a whole spiritual side of wellness that isn't being attended to while we're doing these workouts. And so I got pregnant at the same time. And then I go, I don't want to give my kids my stuff. Like, I don't want them to have, because I knew I still had stuff,
Right.
And it was like,
most of us do.
Right. And so I was like, well, what can I do about that? And so I reached out to a dear friend of mine who goes by Esprit. She is a medium here in the community. I call her, she's like the mother, but what I love about her, and shout out to Esprit, is that she works, her intention and her purpose is to really help women of color, heal from their stuff, and not only heal, but understand how it works so that we can all be in this place of compassion and peace and forgiveness and light, which is what we were all meant to be to begin with, right? But that stuff starts tacking on, and we kind of look up and we become something else. And so I went on that journey. And while I was on that journey, I realized my spirit is starting to be free, but my body still feels a little heavy. And I was like, I got to move this. And as a dancer, I understood how liberating, right? Movement is. As a trainer, I know what it feels like to have that workout where you're just like, I did that, And I'm like, wow, I need to merge the two. There needs to be a connection, right, into what that is. And so that's how I got blessed with the concept from the ancestors of healing movement and what that looks like. Because even along that path, I got honored with the ability to be able to connect with the ancestors, not just for myself, but for my clients, and what that looks like, and to be able to hold space for a room full of people to do that work.
For many of us, we may not quite know even what ancestral healing means.
Yes.
Can you dial it back for us for a moment and tell us what it actually means when we talk about ancestral healing and why it's so important?
So ancestral healing, right, is when you come into this moment. You may have loved ones that have passed away, or that may be what we like to call in the spirit world, your mom, your grandmother, sometimes it's great-great-grandmothers you haven't even met yet. Those things, like we talk about generational curses, things that we talk about, I don't know why I do this. They say it just run in my family, but you still kind of aren't crazy about that as being a part of who you are. Well, what you do in ancestral healing, you bring yourself into a space, into a meditation, what we like to call into your visualization, just a meditation technique, right? Visualization, where you create this space that is protected, that is unconditional love, and you open yourself up to the possibility of having your spirit connect with these people and to sit with them and to have these tough conversations, but also to get a version of them that is ready to answer them in a very mature, in a very loving way, that gives you a piece of freedom and release to heal those wounds. Because those wounds hit us not just emotionally, but they hit us spiritually as well. And they sit in us and they become deeper and stronger. And in ancestral healing, you connect with those people who, what we say in the spirit world, has the God energy, right? To get you into a place to start healing those wounds.
So for anybody who's watching right now, how can they access ancestral healing?
Yeah, so you want to make sure, I always recommend you want to be guided by someone who knows what they're doing first. But the most simplest way, right? Step one, quiet room. You want to make sure you're uninterrupted. And that's really to honor yourself. Right? Give yourself that time and honor that this is something you want to do for yourself. Don't put the phone on silent. The TV show can wait. Everybody can wait.
Okay, that's one.
That's step one. Step two, get comfortable, right? Sit up or you can lay down. Your world, we just in it, right? And step three, those 3 establishing breaths to ground yourself and to open yourself up to the process.
So I can do this in my own home?
Yeah, you don't have to be anywhere special, but you want to be somewhere that is sacred for you, right? So I always recommend, even if it's a corner, right? I turned my office into just my space. So I still work out of my office, right? But before I'm going into this meditation, I honor and I respect and love myself enough, right? I make sure my space is clean, right? I make sure I have plants, because plants bring good vibes and good energy, right? Those little things that make me happy, things that bring me peace. You want to create that in your space. Right? I have an altar to honor my ancestors. I got my mom's favorite snack up there, okay? With a cold circus peanuts. Okay. And my daddy loved orange slices. A little bit of whiskey, because they love them some Jack Daniels, okay? And a cold glass of water. And both of my parents are deceased. So for me, And I'm an only child, so it was the three of us. We was the unit. And so for me, that is so rewarding and just comforting, to be able to know I can do this for them, and there's a space where they can receive that, and I can go into a place and really feel their love. And then because they are deceased, I can still have these conversations because I still got questions. There's such a peace with that, to where I don't have to walk around with this weight.
Thank you so much for sharing your personal story and being vulnerable enough to share that with us. So I am a young woman. I am in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm watching this. I'm wherever I am. And I have questions for my grandmother. I have questions for my mother. I don't have access to a spree or any medium. It seems a little weird, a little woo-woo. But you're right? But you tell me all I have to do is just sit, and I find my quiet room. I prepare to breathe. I pause my phones. I pause life. Get comfortable. Establish my breathing pattern, and I open myself to the process. And then what do I do next?
This is the most important part, I would say. What you always want to do is see yourself going up to a white door, right? It's whatever you want it to be, because it's your world. This is for your spirit, right? This is all about you. You want to see yourself going up to this white door. You want to take your time, see your right hand opening a gold knob, right? And walking into a space. That space could be what Esprit like to say, pink with white polka dots, child, right? That space is, and it doesn't have to be limited to indoor. You might open that door and you're like, dang, I'm in the jungle. This is nice. Usually what that space is wherever your spirit desires to be.
Okay.
It's whatever that space calls to you. And you want to pay attention to what it feels like to be in that space. Breathe into that space, because in that space there are no bills, right? Nobody's trying to call you. You don't owe nobody nothing. You can let your hair down and be yourself. And in that space, anyone that comes into that space, even if it's, whenever ancestor shows up, they are there because they love you, even if it's somebody you don't like. They are there because they love you, and they have the energy to heal you and give you those answers. So it's trusting what starts to come to you, not judging it, right? Not side-eyeing it or yourself.
Right.
It's just for you to see, to acknowledge, and to accept. So you just say, like, I invite any ancestors to come into this to heal me.
So you call me, say, I want my mother. Do I say, Mommy, I want you to come? Or how do I do it? How do I do it?
You see yourself opening the door, and you're setting the intention to invite your ancestors in. You'll open the door and you'll feel who is there. When you are open to that process, you'll feel them, right? And everybody has different experiences. Some people just hear. Some people will just see. Some people will just start to have these flashbacks of these memories. Right? It's however they think they can get you the answers that in a way that you'll be receptive to it. Because some of us are a little stubborn. Even if we open to it, we still might not want to hear the truth. For example, I'll give you an example, right? So let's say I go in and I'm like, dang, why am I like this? I'm attracting all these different kind of men. What? Huh? Right? I'm starting to see a pattern here, right? I'm going to go into my healing room and I'm like, y'all, why am I attracting these men? What's going on? And you might start having flashbacks of, your father was never there. So you're attracting men that are like them, hoping you'll find some answers, right? And then you might even feel a great grandfather, like, I don't even know who this is. Like, I don't know this energy. This is unfamiliar. And it's really to just go in and be like, y'all, I just want to heal from being attracted to these type of men. Can y'all help me?
It's not even just only a question you have about something that happened.
It's all about healing. Because you don't want to get caught up in asking all these questions. You be there forever. Point is to heal from it, right? Because we are energy, your ancestors will know the stronger ones, right? Exactly. The stronger ones will come through and they will know where in your body to place that energy. So if you're familiar with energy, we have chakra, energy centers, right? These energy centers are all responsible for different aspects of who we are, right? So if I'm dealing with men and I'm attracting all kind of men that don't respect me and love me, usually it's because I don't respect and love myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's where our solar, that core is. Even if you start having digestive issues, your body's sending you a message of where your healing needs to be.
Okay.
Right. Every time you think about him, your right leg start hurting. You don't even notice that that's the connection. Right. That's your root chakra, your seat of power, trusting and safety, because your father never gave that to you. So when you go into meditation, your ancestors will go right into, they will know. Usually the stronger ones who know in the healing will come through and they will go and heal that for you. All you got to do is just lay there and breathe and trust what you're being told and what you're being shown. But I always recommend being guided by someone who can work with you on that so you can really get into the flow of what that is. And then the movement comes in where either before or after, you're just getting that out of your body.
Okay.
Because the spirit does so much work, right? You really want to get that energy out of the body.
So I'm in a city and I don't know anybody. Can you do this virtually? Can we go to
domingotraining.com
and
so my classes are virtual. I do in person and offer virtual. And Esprit also does virtual. So and I have a link to all of her stuff on my website. So we try to, we want to get to everybody, not just New Orleans. So.
And then my last question is, who is it good for? The class I was in on Sunday, every woman of different ethnicities, it was different ages, it was different body types. So it wasn't like there was no respecter of any one particular person. So who is it good for? Who would you qualify?
Everybody. That's why you saw everybody in there. When we do our virtual classes, we even have men in there. I had some men in my class last week. The whole point is healing, right? And so at the end of the day, we're all here to heal, no matter what you believe in or who you believe in or who you serve. Our message, right, no matter what your belief is love and healing. You don't have to come from a particular thing. There is no requirement. There is no background check. You just need to bring yourself in the will and the openness to want to be healed, to want to be honest with yourself so that you owe it to you to be the best version of yourself.
Right.
Or just the most authentic version of yourself. Unapologetically yourself, and to know what that feels like and to live in that. Day in and day out. And watch how easy your life gets.
Well, Shonda, we appreciate you. We love what you're doing. I'm so grateful for your journey. Of course, I am saddened for your losses at a young age of a mother and a father. So I honor that and send love and to you. But I love that I get chills just thinking about you taking those traumas and those tragedies and turning them into what you've turned into. And the boys, understanding that they were a part of the evolution to get you here.
For sure. And I even with them, I know they don't fully understand it, but they already know. Like they come in and they see, a picture of chakras, or they just see a picture of a person sitting like this and they're like, meditate. So for me, it's so important. I'm raising 2 Black men. And so for me to get them to a place from beginning off rip, to understand how to control their emotions, to understand, like, somebody said this to me at school, and to come home and be able to go into a meditation and heal from that, or to have that compassion with themselves and with other people as young Black men. I think that is the greatest gift that I can give to them as a mother.
Well, Shonda, again, I thank you. We appreciate you. However, we at Freedom at the Mat can support you, please let us know. So if you were unfamiliar with ancestral healing, now you know a little bit more about what it is about. There is a lot of conversation right now about generational curses, intergenerational trauma. And I invite everyone to not be afraid of going deeper, understanding, as Shonda just said, that we're all energy. And so that means us being here, we got here through the union of two people, every single person. We got here through the union of two people, and those people got here from the energy of two people and two people. So we are here at this point in our lives because it's standing on the shoulders of people who came before us. And if there is something that you need to understand, who better to get an understanding than from your ancestors? And I can tell you personally, having attended Shonda and Esprit's class on Sunday, that it was powerful, it was transformational, and I connected with my mother and got some real clarity on why I am the way I am today, and was able to get a release from her to be able to make some transitions for the betterment to be my most authentic self. So, as you know, at Freedom at the Mat, our whole purpose is to provide as many different opportunities for us all to find our freedom. And I am so clear that this is one. So support Shonda, visit her website, domingotraining.com. Find her as well on Instagram. She is a legit, amazing, certified light of the world. And we appreciate you for your support here at Freedom at the Mat. May God continue to be with you. Namaste.